This is going to go down in history as an asterisk next to Rachel Zegler's name.
There was an in-depth piece, like a behind-the-scenes piece, talking about how they've been in a full meltdown about this girl.
Just when you thought the Snow White controversy was finally fizzling out, Disney might have just thrown gasoline on the fire. Because according to what fans, and let's be honest, internet detectives, are spotting on set, there's a new face in the frame. A very not Rachel Zegler face.
Every single white male is a piece of shit, and the woman is the hero, and all authority is bad, and all business is bad, but government is good as social. And most people don't know what they're watching. She, unfortunately, sort of pulled the curtain back, and people knew exactly what was going on.
And you already know what that means. The rumors are back, loud, fast. And this time, they're asking one question louder than ever. Did Disney just replace Rachel Zegler? Now, to be clear, no press release, no tweet, no, we wish her the best on her future endeavors. But that's the thing. Disney doesn't always speak with words. Sometimes they let the pictures do the talking. And recently, the pictures are saying a lot.
A completely spineless, feckless prince buys his swimsuits at Target. It's helpful to be able to tuck. And Snow White is Snow Brown. Now, I don't have a problem with the fact that she's brown. I'm just saying everything about this has to be changed when it doesn't really need to be changed.
Let's talk about the photos that broke the timeline. Leaked shots from a Snow White set. Full costume, signature dress, and all the forest background you could ask for. But the actress? Not Rachel. No red carpet entrance. No signature smile. No, I'm here to lecture you about fairy tales. Just someone else in the dress. Was it a stand-in, a reshoot, a clever misdirect? That's what Disney wants you to ask. But for fans who've been following the Zegler backlash like it's a Netflix series, it looked a lot more like casting roulette. Because this isn't just any actress spotted on set. Reports say she's younger, fresh-faced, and most importantly, not trending for the wrong reasons every other week. Which, in Disney's current crisis mode, might be the exact princess profile they're looking for.
That at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
No, the people who you need to entertain, the people who you need to serve, the people who pay your salary.
Now here's the part that really twists the knife. Rachel Zegler has been conspicuously absent from every Snow White mention for weeks. No social media teases, no behind-the-scenes grins, no day-on-set selfies, just silence. That's not just unusual, it's calculated. When a lead disappears this hard from her own project, fans don't just notice, they investigate. And right now, every fan theory is pointing in the same direction. Rachel is out, and someone new is already in her shoes. Literally. And let's be honest, if anyone had a good reason to go dark, it'd be her. After months of backlash, jokes, parodies, and some of the worst press a Disney lead has seen since ever, Rachel disappearing feels less like a break and more like an exit strategy.
A company like Disney so up against it. Why? Because it doubled down on DEI.
So why would Disney even consider recasting at this point? Simple. Damage control. This film has been radioactive from the moment Zegler called the original weird and threw the love story under the bus. Every time she spoke, the movie's stock dropped. Fans turned. Memes flooded. Even The Simpsons joined the roast session. For Disney, it's not about loyalty. It's about optics. They're not looking for who started the fire. They're looking for who can put it out before opening weekend. And if that means quietly replacing the face of their fairy tale, they'll do it. No announcement, no drama, just reset. And what better way to do that than by slipping a new actress into a scene here, a promo shot there, until people just stop asking, where's Rachel, and start saying, wait, who's this?
When people say woke, what they really mean is they're describing a worldview that hates you. That hates everything America stands for.
Recasting a lead mid-hype cycle is Hollywood's equivalent of performing surgery in the middle of a live broadcast. No one wants to admit it's happening, but everyone's watching for signs. And if the whispers are true, Disney might be pulling off the most silent swap in its live-action remake history. No big announcement, no farewell post. Just a new face quietly stepping into the spotlight, while the old one fades into the fog of PR nightmares. It's not personal. It's business. Because in Disney's eyes, Rachel Zegler may have become more of a liability than a leading lady. The joke's been made 100 times already. She's the first Snow White to poison her own fairy tale. Ouch, but true. And Disney knows the clock is ticking. This isn't just about fixing the film. It's about saving the brand.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Say it louder so your other eye can hear you.
So we didn't do that this time.
You don't need a long memory to track where this went sideways. Rachel Zegler didn't just promote Snow White. She critiqued it. Harshly. Publicly. Over and over again. She dismissed the 1937 original as weird. Rolled her eyes at the prince. Mocked the love story. Acted like she was cast to rewrite the ending, not honor the beginning. And with every smug comment, another section of the fan base peeled away, muttering, "Who asked for this?" Then came the reactions. TikTok, edits, Twitter roasts, YouTube essays breaking down her press tour like it was a murder scene. Even The Simpsons jumped in with a parody that didn't just jab, it dissected her. At that point, Rachel wasn't promoting Snow White anymore. She was selling the backlash. And that's when Disney probably started asking itself, is this the face we want on the poster anymore?
There was an in-depth piece, like a behind-the-scenes piece, talking about how they've been in a full meltdown about this girl for a couple of years now.
Here's the thing. Nobody knows exactly who this new actress is. No confirmations, no cast list updates, just leaked footage of someone in full Snow White gear, smiling, dancing, looking very uncontroversial. And that's the key word, uncontroversial. She doesn't have months of headlines behind her. No viral interviews, no lectures. She's just Snow White. Quiet. Charming. On brand. Which might be exactly what Disney wants. A reset that looks like they planned it all along. Some fans think it's a reshoot. Others say it's a double. But here's what no one's saying. That looks like Rachel. And in this business, that says everything.
And so it was like
those people.
very much this, yes.
It
Yeah,
was
the
this
people that we
awakening
need
of-
to educate, the people that we need to love into.
As soon as the leaked set pics dropped, the internet detonated. Fan pages split in two. One half praying for a full-on recast, the other half convinced this was Disney testing the waters with a new lead. Reddit threads ran with headlines like Rachel, out, new actress spotted on Disney lot, this is not a drill, Snow White recast, confirmed. What Disney isn't telling us yet, the Rachel Zegler experiment is over. Fans get what they wanted, Twitter exploded. TikTok fed the fire. Some were thrilled. Finally, someone who respects the role. Others were cautious, asking if Disney is trying to gaslight the audience into accepting a new face without saying a word. But the point is, everyone was talking again. The hype is back, not for the film, but for the possibility that Disney actually hit the reset button when no one was looking.
Come on.
That's the face of a
Probably.
serial killer.
And if you disagree with the sentiment, just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business.
Noted.
Thanks.
If Rachel Zegler really has been replaced, or sidelined into a minimal role, don't expect Disney to confirm it. Not now. Not ever. Because doing so opens a door they absolutely do not want to walk through. They'd have to acknowledge that their casting went sideways, that the PR tour blew up, that the internet won, and that would shatter the Disney illusion that everything is magical, all the time. Instead, they'll bury it in creative language. They'll call it scheduling conflicts, or evolving creative direction. They might say she was unavailable for pickup shots. Whatever the excuse, it won't say what fans already know. Rachel Zegler was the test run. This new actress, that's the actual product.
I'm a narcissist.
That she is. And by the way, the producer of Snow White, his son, knows it.
If this really is a switch, the movie itself might actually stand a chance. Let's be real. The visuals were never the problem. The story could have worked. The real issue was the face attached to it. The voice dragging it down in every interview. Replace that voice. And suddenly, the same film has new life. Fans who were boycotting might reconsider. Memes start disappearing. People give the trailer another shot. It doesn't erase the damage, but it resets the conversation. And that might be all Disney needs to pull this one out of the fire and into the box office black.
I don't really care about that. What I care about is how she hated the story because it needed to be wokeified, and she hated the fact that there was going to be a Prince Charming of some sort, and they needed to update it.
The minute those set photos hit the web, people weren't asking, is this true? They were saying, finally. No press release, no statement, no TMZ scoop, just blurry behind-the-scenes images and fans filling in the blanks. And that's all it took, because that's how the internet works now. It doesn't wait for official. It declares its own reality. And right now, that reality is Rachel Zegler is out, someone else is in, and Disney's quietly course-correcting like a studio, in full panic mode. No one needs proof when the vibe already confirms it.
When people watched it originally in 1937 in the theaters, it was an amazing experience because for most people, it was the first color movie. But second of all, people had so connected emotionally with the character of Snow White that when she eats from the apple and she dies, people were literally weeping in the theater because they liked the character of Snow White so much.
Within hours, the memes took over. TikTok was flooded with videos of people celebrating like a recast had been officially confirmed, even though it hadn't. One viral post showed clips of Rachel's infamous interviews next to a stock image of Mickey Mouse hitting the replace button. Twitter X users were already joking that Rachel got Disney fired, and Reddit threads turned into digital group therapy for frustrated fans. We knew this was coming, one top-voted comment read. She was never Snow White, she was Snow Wrong. Brutal? Yes. Surprising? Not even a little. Because for the fan base, this wasn't just about the movie. It was personal. Rachel wasn't just the wrong casting. She represented everything they hated about Hollywood's current approach to remakes. Preachy, smug, disconnected. Her exit, rumored or real, felt like poetic justice.
Look at this. Look at this face. What can be said about this level of narcissism here?
The YouTube reaction community didn't waste a second. Commentary channels were lighting up like Vegas at midnight with thumbnails screaming, Disney dumps Zegler? New Snow White confirmed? They actually replaced her. And here's why it works. Rachel's last straw, Disney pulls the plug. And here's the kicker. They didn't even need facts. Just the idea that Disney might have swapped her out was enough to generate hundreds of thousands of views. Because the narrative writes itself. Young star gets cast in iconic role. Trashes the original. Alienates fans. Goes viral for all the wrong reasons. Quietly gets phased out. Disney pretends nothing happened. It's clean. It's dramatic. And best of all, it sounds exactly like how this industry operates.
That at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
The ego on this girl is ridiculous.
This isn't just internet gossip. This is a warning shot for every casting director in town. Because behind all the jokes and reaction clips is a very real message. The audience isn't passive anymore. They're watching the press tours. They're clipping interviews. They're making decisions long before the opening weekend. And if a lead actor tanks the vibe, the entire film suffers before a single frame hits the screen. That's why this situation isn't just about Rachel. It's about the future of casting. Hollywood used to look for talent and star power. Now, they're adding a new filter. Can this person not alienate half the audience during the promo run? Rachel became the case study. And you can bet every agent and publicist in town is using her name in sentences that start with, "Don't be like."
I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again.
So far, no big-name celebs have chimed in publicly. And why would they? No one wants to get caught in the crossfire. But you better believe they're watching. You've got actors who auditioned for Snow White quietly smirking. Influencers who were once defending Rachel now going suspiciously silent. And Disney alums? Radio silence. It's the Hollywood version of that awkward moment when someone gets escorted out of a party mid-conversation. And no one says anything, but everyone hears the door slam. Even co-stars who once shared the stage with Rachel are subtly stepping back, posting unrelated content, and making sure they're not looped into the fallout. Because that's the unwritten rule in celebrity land. When a name becomes toxic, even proximity can get you burned.
Because right now there's more dwarves on this podcast than there are in the new Snow White movie.
You have to respect the strategy, even if it's shady. Disney's not going to announce a recast. That would be messy. That would mean acknowledging that something went wrong. And Disney doesn't do wrong. Disney pivots, repackages, and moves forward with a new creative vision. Right now, what they're doing is classic PR sleight of hand. Quietly shooting new footage, shifting marketing materials, and letting the internet do all the dirty work. Why spend millions on a spin campaign when the fan base is practically doing it for you, and the genius of it? By the time we get the final trailer, Rachel might only be in a couple of distant shots, or maybe not at all. And if anyone asks, they'll say creative updates, standard in filmmaking. Translation, yeah, we cut her.
Their star, Rachel Zegler, was so unlikable, said she hated Snow White, mocked the fact that there was a prince, and that she falls in love as opposed to leaning into her own power. We could go on.
So here we are. A beloved fairy tale, a controversial lead, a studio under fire, and a replacement actress nobody saw coming. Or maybe they did. Maybe we all knew this was inevitable the moment Rachel opened her mouth and declared war on the very story she was hired to tell. This isn't just a PR fail. It's a cultural correction. Fans drew the line, the media amplified it, and now it looks like Disney is finally erasing the chalkboard. If Rachel really is out, and the signs are pointing that way, it'll go down as one of the quietest recasts in Disney history, but also one of the loudest messages they've ever sent. Don't trash the magic, or the magic will move on without you.
Literally no offense to anyone. They're very proud to cast a Latino actress as Snow White. It makes no sense to me. You're progressive in one way, but you're still making that backward story of 7 dwarves living in a cave. What the are you doing, man?
Let's call it what it is. Disney tried to write a bold new version of Snow White into the future, and face-planted straight into a social media wildfire. And now, if these rumors are even half true, they've done what big studios always do. When things spin out of control, quietly clean house and pretend it was the plan all along. Recasting without saying the word recast. Reframing without admitting failure. It's not just crisis control. It's Disney's version of waving the magic wand and whispering, forget all that. Except this time, the audience didn't forget. They noticed everything. The press, tour, the quotes, the eye rolls, the vibe shift, and now the missing actress. You don't need a press release to understand the spell's been broken.
Cheering for herself.
The saddest part of this whole saga? Rachel Zegler didn't just lose a role, she lost the narrative. She went from being a fresh face of modern Hollywood to a cautionary tale in less than a year. A promising star given the lead in one of the most iconic fairy tales ever, only to torch the goodwill by dragging the very thing that made the role special in the first place. This wasn't about looks or casting. It was about tone. Rachel didn't sound like someone proud to play Snow White. She sounded like someone embarrassed by it, and in a world full of nostalgia-driven fans and fantasy-hungry audiences, that's not just a misstep. That's a deal-breaker.
And to put 7 people with dwarfism on camera in a major Disney movie, there's still power there. If the story is offensive, change the story, don't change the characters.
Here's what this moment will be remembered for. Not the dress, not the songs, not the visuals, but the disconnect between star and story, between performer and public. Rachel Zegler's version of Snow White never even made it to screen, and yet she became the face of everything wrong with the reboot craze. Not because of her talent, but because of her attitude. She told people the classic was outdated, the prince was creepy, and the story needed fixing. The audience didn't disagree with her ideas. They disagreed with her approach. It felt like she was talking down to them, not with them. And that tone, it's what turned a Disney fairy tale into a PR disaster. Let this be a warning. You don't sell nostalgia by insulting the people who feel it.
And they postponed the release of this thing, Ben, for a year because their star, Rachel Zegler, was so unlikable, told all Trump supporters that they could f off.
If Disney has replaced Rachel, whether permanently or just in post-production reshoots, they won't tell us. They don't have to. That's the beauty of Hollywood's playbook. Let the new face show up, let the trailer change, and pretend nothing happened. And here's the thing, it'll probably work. Most people watching the trailer won't even know there was controversy. Most casual fans won't realize they're seeing a different actress, and Disney will get exactly what it wants. A clean slate, a princess without baggage, and hopefully, a film that doesn't trend for all the wrong reasons. Behind the scenes, the message is loud and clear. Get the tone wrong and you're gone. Even if your contract says otherwise. Even if the camera's already rolled. Because Disney protects the brand, not the cast.
You don't
particularly see people who, look like me or are me playing roles like that. So it was definitely when it got announced.
She wasn't a stalker, by the way.
Thing that was like trending on Twitter for days because all of the people were angry.
Even if this all ends in silence, even if Rachel never comments and Disney never confirms, a digital trail has already been carved into pop culture. Fans will remember, YouTubers will document, commentators will recap this saga in videos titled The Fall of Disney's Snow White and how one actress got herself recast without saying a word. This won't be buried, it'll be studied. Because it wasn't just about one casting. It was about an entire shift in how audiences push back when a studio misreads the room. And in this case, the room shouted loud enough that someone else is now holding the poisoned apple. When Hollywood rewrites the ending to save the brand, you know I'll be here to tell the story they won't. Like this video, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you never miss the next fairy tale that turns into a full-blown franchise crisis.